Welcome back, everyone, to the Paradise of the Pacific. We are here in Honolulu, Hawaii for the 2024 Pokemon GO World Championships. I'm Wholesome_, joined by the Pokemon GO pundit, Soph Toph. Soph, how are we feeling?
I'm so excited. I've been excited about this tournament for months, and to finally see it all playing out, it's living up to my expectations. We've already seen a lot of great battlers, a lot of great battles, and I know there's still more to come.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just so exciting to see trainers from all these different regions finally all gathered here together on one stage for the most important tournament of their lives, for the opportunity to become Pokemon GO World Champion. We've already seen the likes of EYC champion Tauntaun Battus. We've seen LAIC champion Hard Jeff. We've seen world champion already. It's Accent. Actually, it's a very tough battle, but there are so many other trainers that I'm so excited to feature here in these upcoming battles.
Absolutely, and speaking of upcoming battles, we actually have some trainers from different regions who are about to battle it out. We've got Yekai, who I believe is from Hong Kong, as well as LNDsTSteinar. You mentioned Hard Jeff doing so well from that LATAM region, but T-Steiner has been right in there, has had such a phenomenal season in both LAIC and NAIC.
Yeah, so I'm really excited specifically for Steiner, because when you watch him battle, he battles with so much emotion. A lot of those folks, especially from the LATAM region, you can just see they wear their emotions on their sleeve. They're absolutely popping off so regularly when they're having those wins, and you can see them celebrating with a lot of their friends. So it's great to see the representation here from all the different regions, but I'm particularly excited for LATAM. Also to mention, Steiner had a very impressive run at NAIC as well, so I think he has momentum on his side going into today's battles.
You talk about momentum, you talk about friendship. You might notice a lot of these trainers that we've seen so far, not just T-Steiner, not just Hard Jeff, also Juz Muniz, who I believe we saw on stream earlier. They all share this LNDS prefix, you know, kind of mysterious, but I think they're all part of a shared Go Battle League inspired community where the LNDS comes from GBL Lindos.
Absolutely. It was great. When I was actually down in Sao Paulo, every time that you would see one of the Lindos come on stage, there would be an absolute roar coming from the crowd. Even backstage, we could hear all of the crowd chatter just every single time they'd be even mentioned in conversation. Now, that said, I'm very curious to see the Pokemon that these two trainers are going to be bringing. It's a very interesting meta that we're in right now, specifically because we have not really had too many opportunities to see kind of what the flavor of the month, we could say, is here in this current meta. We've seen the likes of Shadow Quagsire, I think, it's making some splashes here in Honolulu, Hawaii, but I'm very curious to see how it's going to be performing for these trainers.
Well, you mentioned Shadow Quagsire. You can see it there on Yekai's side. It actually looks quite safe into T-Steiner's team. Maybe the most safe Pokemon, actually, so we might be expecting to see quite a bit of Shadow Quagsire action from Yekai. Let's take a look at the stage, though. Look at how beautiful that is. And neither of these trainers is a stranger to the big stage. It's actually Yekai's second World Championships. And, of course, T-Steiner we've seen time and time again at these huge events.
Okay, well, taking a closer look at the teams for Yekai, we have the double Flyer squad, the Altaria, as well as the Skarmory, met by Lickitung, Charjabug, the Shadow Quagsire, like you said, actually running Aquatail Stone Edge, so very important there, and then Annihilate. It's going to be very interesting to see whether that Night Slash boost happens or not in some of these battles.
Yeah, not a lot of surprises on this team. We mentioned the Quagsire. We also see Altaria. I feel like we've seen a couple of trainers. I saw Valiant Vish using it earlier, and that was one of our trending up picks, as it has a lot of nice play against those water ground types. Let's take a look at T-Steiner's team here, though. Jim, walk us through this.
Yeah, we've got the Lantern Azumarill double water combo there. Lantern definitely has a lot of representation despite some of the nerfs in recent metas. Also met with the Shadow Gligar, the Vigoroth, the Charjabug, and the Lickitung. We had a lot of chatter regarding Vigoroth versus the Annihilate. So give us some detail around why you may want one Pokemon versus the other.
I think Annihilate, if it's in some of these neutral matchups, you get that same type attack bonus on counter, which can be super important. It also has potential, of course, to get double boosted with its attack there, if you can get that on the Night Slash with the 1/8 chance there. And Shadow Ball really can hit everything. So I think Annihilate, especially with a shield advantage, can just pretty much do damage to anything. However, Vigoroth has a bit of a better matchup into Pokemon like Gligar and Feraligatr, which we've seen kind of on the uptick recently.
Yeah, and I think one of the Pokemon that it really wants to target is that Lickitung, which is going to do a lot better versus the likes of Annihilate, but with that normal typing, double resisting those licks, that is a big tool within the tool belt of Lickitung. Definitely a matchup that it wants to see. I'm going to be very curious to see how this Azumarill performs on the side of Trainer Steiner here. This Azumarill doesn't have a ton of targets, but if it's able to get lined up versus that Altaria, we've seen that matchup before, a very one-sided matchup. These trainers are getting locked in. We are here at the 2024 Pokemon GO World Championships. This, I believe, is round 4 here. Can't wait to move into these battles. Let's get started, Soph.
All right, here we go. We see that Vigoroth that we were just talking about on T. Steiner's side, and it's led into Yekai's Charjabug.
All right, well, this Vigoroth does have access to Rock Slide, a new addition to its moveset here in the year of 2024. Really excited to see, are we able to get a Rock Slide off really quickly? No, actually, we're going to see Yekai throwing this X-Scissor right away, trying to land some chip damage.
That's right, Vigoroth just going to do a couple more counters, continuing to bank up energy. Has 2 Body Slams here, going to throw the first. I think 2 Body Slams is almost just enough to take out the Charjabug, so doesn't reach for that super effective Rock Slide, and Yekai lets it go.
Yeah, lets the first one go. Some nice chip damage, but you have a ton of energy now as this Charjabug, and if you're Yekai, you have to feel very good that you're not matched up versus this Shadow Gligar. So already getting a meaningful amount of chip damage. We actually see an interesting double normal team from the likes of Steiner here, but in comes the Altaria. This is now a pretty neutral matchup, but with that nice chip damage from the Charjabug, this Altaria might be able to get this Lickitung in single Moonblast range.
That's right. Here comes the first Body Slam from Lickitung. Not going to do a ton of damage to the Altaria, but does have a second loaded already. Lickitung actually quite safe against Yekai's team, so that's why we saw that chip and dip strategy you were just talking about, Jim.
What we may be setting up here, Soph, in the back would be the Shadow Quagsire versus the Shadow Gligar with access to Aqua Tail. That could be very, very important for Yekai, but we see these one-turn fast attacks adding up. Altaria able to get to the Sky Attack. This should be enough to knock out the Lickitung, but it does not have a lot of HP remaining. This could serve as an opportunity for Steiner to get some energy on his Gligar, but take a look at this Altaria. It's able to get to the Sky Attack. Can he get to the Moonblast? Yes!
Really nice patience from Yekai there. Waits till the last possible second to see just how much energy he can gather. Moonblast goes through, actually gets shielded by T. Steiner. Now you have a Gligar, you're down his shields, but you do have a little bit of energy. Yeah,
let's take a look at the shield situation here, though. Yekai still has 2 Protect Shields for the Quagsire. At this rate, you really just want to invest Protect Shields, right? You're thinking, oh no, he lets it go. This was the bait. This was the Aerial Ace. Saving 2 Protect Shields for later on. You have one Aqua Tail stored and actually going to throw potentially on Charge Attack priority right when this Gligar reached the Aerial Ace, but no, actually just goes straight for this Aqua Tail Gligar. Going to let this one go.
And that's a nice call by Yekai to let the Aerial Ace go, but you have to remember you're getting a little bit low on health here, and T. Steiner still has a lot of the Vigoroth left, which can do a lot of damage with those counters.
There's not a lot of HP left on the side of Yekai, neither on... Okay, quick swap here. The Vigoroth is back in, lots of energy. Charjabug trying to get to the X-Scissor, but not before Steiner is able to get to a Body Slam. Charjabug is actually in Body Slam range at this point, and I think it might be close to 2.
Really nice recognition by Yekai there that the Vigoroth already had 2 Body Slams, but here comes the second onto the Quagsire. You have just 1 shield left, but it's going to take a lot to try to mudshot down this Vigoroth. How do you get rid of this as Yekai?
Yeah, here comes... I think we're only 5 counters away. I don't think you're going to be able to farm down with Mudshots here. Needs to throw this Aqua Tail. You do have 2 Aqua Tails now as Yekai. Trainer Steiner needs to make a shielding decision. Do you want to try and get all of this energy out of the way? I don't think switch clocks are up yet. Not at this point. You're 1 counter away. Not able to get to the Body Slam. This is the second Aqua Tail. I think still some residual energy on the side of Yekai. This is going to be a very close matchup, so...
Just going to come down to how much energy is on this Gligar. You're not threatened at all by the Mudshots. Oh, but not that much energy, and this Quagsire is almost at the Aqua Tail already.
1 HP and a dream. Able to avoid the knockout. Just get to this Aqua Tail. This is going to be plenty to knock out. Steiner trying to desperately get those wing attacks to knock out the Quagsire, but unable to do so. Game number 1 goes to Yekai.
Really nicely played there. Lickitung swap in the middle was a little bit tricky to deal with, but Yekai just kept calm, chipped it with the Charjabug, came in with the Altaria, and we saw that perfect farming in that Altaria-Lickitung matchup to come out with a Charge Attack to pull that first Protect Shield.
You know, it's really interesting to see the double normal team on the side of Steiner, knowing that there's that Annihilate on the side of Yekai that can just really crush that Vigoroth and do well versus the Lickitung as well. But Yekai led with that Charjabug, and I think that Steiner really wanted to switch out to try and realign his Gligar onto the Charjabug. Unfortunately, he was unable to do so, and instead the Gligar got lined up versus the Quagsire.
That's right, and here is that nice overfarm by Yekai. Look at this, commits to the Moonblast here, barely able to get it off, and forces that first Protect Shield from T. Steiner.
Yeah, we saw earlier in the day, actually, I think our very first game, a Moonblast debuff on a Gligar as well. Not the case that time, and as we saw here, this was just the spamminess of the Shadow Quagsire, able to reach those Aqua Tails so fast. It's a really tough situation for Steiner because you find yourself at the end of the game just shielding these low energy charge attacks. Maybe if you're rethinking that one, hey, do I want to shield a little bit earlier in the game? But nonetheless, really great play from Yekai, able to win on the back of that 1 HP Quagsire.
That's right, Quagsire really, able to close out the game there, pulling the Protect Shield, I think throwing 3 Aqua Tails just in the last little span of that match, and barely able to hang on and pull it out.
All right, well, you've got answers to the Quagsire. There's no doubt. You had the Vigoroth, you had the Lickitung as well. But to be honest, those are going to be some of your best answers in general to that Shadow Quagsire. Lantern, not going to perform very well. Shadow Gligar, we saw really struggled. Charjabug has some issues. Maybe we see the Azumarill as another answer as well. But it would not shock me to see another double normal team from Steiner. Maybe try and get some different alignment this time, though.
That's right. The double normal is scary to bring into the Annihilate, but I like the way T-Steiner has constructed this team. You've got Pokemon like Gligar and Azumarill to scare it off, but I think we're actually getting ready to go into this game too. We've got T-Steiner with Charjabug leading into Yokai's Altaria.
All right, well, we see these Volt Switches, 4-turn attack versus the 1-turn attack in these Dragon Breaths. A little bit of a positive matchup for this Altaria, though don't discount the ability of this Charjabug to dish out some damage as well. Here comes the first Discharge. It's going to do some nice neutral damage into this Altaria.
That's right, but Altaria is not really threatened by that. I think Altaria can come out of this with a nice amount of health if it wants to. It looks like T-Steiner is actually choosing to shield up this Charjabug, maybe fearing that it could be a potential Moonblast.
The one thing to keep in mind here is look in the back. This Lantern doesn't have a lot of destinations. Okay, here comes the second Discharge, though. This is going to do some nice neutral damage again, and we do see the Protect Shield come up from Yekai. Seems like Switch Advantage is going to be important to him this game.
That's right, pretty different from last game. We saw it taking quite a while for any Protect Shields to go up. Looks like both trainers are choosing to play that one Protect Shield situation here. Altaria able to fire off the Sky Attack, and it looks like T-Steiner is happy to let this go. And I think you know, it's kind of a difficult decision what you come down here to farm down with. Looks like it's going to be the Lickitung, but you're going to take quite a bit of Dragon Breath damage.
Not only are you going to take a lot of Dragon Breath damage, I think this Altaria might be able to reach a Sky Attack. No, unfortunately, not a huge farm from Trainer Steiner. This puts this Lickitung in a great situation where it has a huge energy lead and has not taken much damage of Chip at all.
That's right, and if you're Yekai, just thinking about what to bring in, it actually brings in the Charjabug here. Usually not a great matchup for Charjabug, but the Lickitung is chipped just a little bit by those Dragon Breaths, so potentially helping to put this into double X-Scissor range. Here comes that first Body Slam from Lickitung.
I like where Trainer Steiner is here with his current Lickitung, but the thing I'm worried about, Soph, is going to be that Lantern looming in the back. It may get aligned versus that Lickitung, which is not a positive matchup. Here comes the X-Scissor from the Charjabug. Again, this will do some good chip damage here, but this Lickitung is plenty bulky to hang on. Probably can survive another one as well. You have so much energy and great timing there from Steiner trying to get this next Body Slam out, but this isn't going to be enough. The question becomes, do you get to this third Body Slam before the X-Scissor is thrown? No, and actually a quick swap out, a catch on the X-Scissor.
That's right. Nice read there from T-Steiner. Charjabug was pretty much forced to throw there, or else the Lickitung would have reached another Body Slam. So nice anticipation, but now you are locked in against Yokai's Lickitung, and I think this is, with the Licks, going to almost be perfect Power Whip range.
You know, we've seen Water Gun Lantern in the past. We're seeing it again. This is 1 turn versus 1 turn fast attack. You have to still give some advantage to this Lickitung, knowing that it has access to Power Whip, but doesn't even get there. Actually just goes straight for this Body Slam.
Yeah, nice calling of the bait there by T-Steiner. Looks like Lickitung is just going to be going for double Body Slam to close out this matchup. First Surf coming through. Don't expect a shield from Yekai. Lets it go there, and Lickitung still looking pretty healthy here.
A lot of bulky Pokemon still remaining in this matchup, so despite the low HP, there's actually still a lot of bulk on the field. Here comes the next Body Slam. Just like you mentioned, so did put this essentially in Body Slam range, this Lantern, able to now get to the Surf, but may want to go for the Thunderbolt, thinking I'm only going to get to 1 more charge attack. Maybe not, though. Opts to go for the Surf. You still need to knock away this final Protect Shield on the side of Yekai. Yekai falls for the bait, but you do have a Body Slam basically ready to go. Will you overfarm? No, throws it right away.
Yeah, and I think Yekai probably just wanted to preserve a little bit of health here. You know that Lickitung is still in the back, doesn't have a lot of fast attack pressure. So if you can keep your own Lickitung healthy enough to stay out of Body Slam or even Power Up range, then you're in a very good position.
I think that all you need to do is get to 1 charge attack. The Body Slam may not be quite enough, but maybe a Volt Switch or a couple licks after this is going to do it. Here comes the first Body Slam from Steiner, though. This is not going to be enough to knock out. You need to desperately get to, I think, 3 Body Slams to win this matchup. I just don't know how you're going to do that at this point for Steiner.
And that was charge attack priority, so Yekai Yekai did guarantee getting this body slam off, and I think you probably just need a couple more fast attacks, just switches into the charge bug. Oh, it's actually a body slam here, but I think you're going to be able to lick down when you come back in with your own Lickitung.
Absolutely. You are now just taking all of this energy off the field. The Volt Switch does not go through, but you only have a little fraction of HP. Here comes the double resisted licks, and Yekai takes a clean 2-0 victory versus Steinar.
And Yekai is going to be moving on to the group winners finals, just one match away from making day 2 and that top 16. And what a match that was. Masterful play in that first game, managing the Quagsire's health so perfectly. And just now, again, we saw that end game with the Lickitung really just able to close out things against both Pokemon in the back.
If we look at Steinar's Lantern, I'm a bit surprised to see it brought in game number 2 there, knowing just how many difficult matchups that it has. The Altaria, that's normally a relatively neutral matchup if you are going to be running Spark. However, you're running Water Gun, so that matchup becomes quite bad. And then additionally, getting lined up versus a Lickitung is not what you want to see. Perhaps expecting the Skarmory there. That may have been the case, especially since game 1 Steinar did bring that Gligar. Maybe that's what he was expecting, but it was a tough matchup. I really think that actually in that middle game that Steinar may have been in the lead, but there was just nowhere for Lantern to go, and that really was the nail in the coffin there for Steinar.
And I have to give some credit to Yekai too. Made a pretty nice team read. Could have brought his own Lickitung into the opposing chipped Lickitung. Instead, made the read to bring in Charge Bug after this Lickitung licks down this Altaria all the way.
Yeah, this was a devastating lick down. I'm glad that you mentioned that again. We were thinking, okay, can this Altaria get to the Sky Attack? Tries to press it. No, but it's right when the final lick damage registers. A lot of X's. There's a lot of body slams flying out from both of these trainers, but I really like the plays from Yekai. I think recognizing when he needed to get Pokemon off the field, not over-farming a lot, just recognizing, okay, I need to throw this Body Slam, I need to throw this X-Scissor. These are bulky Pokemon, and I need to lock in damage right now.
That's right, and this is nice recognition from Yekai. I was thinking potentially double power up, but actually Yekai just goes for the triple body slam. If you get the bait, even better. And nice recognition at the end here, just needs one Volt Switch to threaten the Lickitung and force it to throw energy.
I think at that point for Yekai, just recognizing that there are multiple win conditions, let's go with the safe one there, which was making that catch. You're forced to throw that energy at that point, and you know that once you're forced to throw that energy, all it takes is a couple additional licks from your own Lickitung to secure the matchup and secure the 2-0 victory there for Yekai. So he'll be moving on. That was the winner's semis. I think that's going to take him to his group finals, Soph.
I think that's right. Steinar, on the other hand, is going to drop down to that loser's bracket, but I believe just needs to win 3 more matches, so not too far off of making the top 16 on day 2.
Well, one thing I want to call back was the Shadow Quagsire. I know we've mentioned it maybe as the premier Mudboy now. I think there's definitely an argument to be made there. But so talk a little bit about what makes Shadow Quagsire unique, especially as compared to some of the Pokemon like Whiscash or Swampert.
I think the big thing is just that it's so fast with that Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail, if you remember, was a exclusive Community Day charge attack that you could get, and I think you might even be able to evolve it during the World Championships event, so make sure you get your Quagsire and your Shadow Quagsire as well. But really just that spamminess, if we think about other Mudboys that have made a huge impact on the competitive scene, right? We have Swampert, we have Whiscash. All of those take 5 or 6 seconds to get to their first move, but Quagsire can get to Aqua Tail in just 4 seconds, and 1 second is huge in Pokemon Go.
I think the other thing for me, though, specifically with Quagsire, is its access to Stone Edge with its rock-type attack. When we look at some of the threats in general for some of those Mudboys, it's going to be the Flyers, especially things like Whiscash and Swampert. They struggle versus Pokemon like, especially Altaria. But when you have access to Stone Edge, you can pace through relatively quickly as well. It can do some hard-hitting damage that a lot of the traditional Mudboys don't have that same access to. So I think it gives a bit of a different dynamic for that particular Pokemon that is great for our current meta with a lot of those Flyers.
Absolutely. And speaking of great Pokemon, let's take a look at some of the rewards you can get from watching the stream. I believe this is for the VGC. Celebrate the 2024 Pokemon World Championships. You can get this Sylveon that was part of Tomoya Ogawa's 2023 Worlds winning team. So make sure you get this Sylveon while you can.
I don't think we've seen too much Sylveon in Go, maybe in 1 or 2 regionals, but I think that our favorite evolution, at least here in our current meta, maybe Umbreon, Soph.
I think it has to be Umbreon. I don't think any of the original evolutions have made a big splash, and and the other ones are just a little bit too frail for Great League. So I think you're right that Umbreon is Pokemon GO's evolution of choice.
You know, it's interesting to see some of the different metas that have been defined by our different regions. I feel like there's an EU meta. I feel like that there, you know what, real quick, actually, before we get into the metas, let's talk about TCG real quick. It's not just VG as well. We have TCG swag that you guys can also make sure that you're redeeming. Outburst Worlds 24. Guys, we want to celebrate with you back at home. There's lots of opportunities for you to get some exclusive items here, including the 2024 Pokemon World Championship Special Illustration Petron in game. I'm very, very excited to see how that one, an absolutely beautiful card.
Absolutely beautiful. And if you redeem this, I think you get that on Pokemon Trading Card Game Live, so you can show it off when you're playing those ladder games with your friends.
All right, well, I want to go back to the Umbreon because I think that it is a staple of certain metas. Like we were talking about, EU, NA, LATAM, Oceania, APAC. There's a little bit different metas, and I've seen quite a bit of Umbreon actually in the APAC region. I don't think we've seen it featured too much on stream, but I kind of feel like there's different forces that are colliding from different regions, different areas of the world, and it's really interesting to see how some of those different skill expressions are defined in some of these battles. We've already seen the likes of, I think, some LATAM versus EU. We've seen some NA versus EU. I'm very excited to see some of the Oceania and APAC trainers featured as well. We did just see Yekai, though.
We did just see Yekai, and I think we're about to see him again. I think we have him on the stage ready for an interview with Caleb. Take it away.
Thank you, Soph. I'm Caleb Pang. I'm joined by Yekai and a translator as well. Yekai, fantastic performance. I believe this is your first World Championships too, and you're undefeated so far. How are you feeling right now?
严凯，这是你第一个世界锦标赛，你现在感觉如何？
I'm feeling unwell right now, and this is actually my second Unreal Championship series, and I got knocked out in just 2 rounds last year, so pretty happy that I can make that far this year.
Okay, wait. Sorry for that. My correction. Second time, but first time on stage and doing really well so far. I believe with this win, it means that you already made it on to day number 2 in top 32. So you can rest up here. How are you feeling about day number 2 competition now that you made it? I think you're the first person to make it into day number 2.
I feel pretty happy about that. I will just consider it as a normal battle, just like I normally playing in GBL, and just do my best.
Awesome, awesome. Well, tell some of the viewers at home, right? Because you mentioned, you didn't do so well last year, but you came in this year undefeated already, looking to win even more. What was kind of the adjustment you made from last year to this year to kind of help you prepare for this year's championships in Hawaii?
I realized that Show 6 E series is sometimes pretty similar to GBL battles, and that's a region that I'm good at, so I take every single game this year as a normal GBL battle, just that I know all the Pokemon that the opponents will potentially bring, and just play it like a GBL battle and guess what's in the back and do the skills that I used in GBL.
Yeah, I mean, now that you mentioned GBL, it does remind me, I've battled you in GBL a few times and lost, I think, all of them. So definitely have a lot of skills in that category. Well, congratulations on your win here. I know you traveled a long way to get here. Anyone you want to shout out and thank that might be tuning in from across the world?
I want to thank you, my aunt. He's with me in here today. He spent her holiday to travel with me all the way to Hawaii this place. And I want to also thank you, my Hong Kong friends who support me all the way and help me to find a sponsorship, and also iPhone MVG that have daily practice with me on Show 6
Awesome. Well, a lot of people helping you out here. You're playing fantastic as well. Anyone at home cheering on Yekai, I'm sure staying up late was worth it watching him win. So congratulations on your win. Good luck tomorrow and the rest of the weekend. Back to you, casters.
恭喜。
Thank you so much, Caleb and Yekai. I really love what Yekai was saying there, just taking each game as if it's a Go Battle League game, or treating each Go Battle League game seriously. I feel like that's something that's really important in terms of translating your skill when you play at home to your skill when you're playing on a huge stage at the World Championships.
Yeah, I think that was such an inspiring interview, and he made some really great points. You have to not only just prepare, on paper for what's to come. Like you said, you have some advantages of knowing the 6 available Pokemon, but it really comes down to those moments in the battle. And I think what defines Go, what makes it stand out from some of the other Pokemon games, is that everything is in real time. This isn't a turn-based, I mean, there are turns, but this isn't a turn-by-turn game in the sense that you're having to wait for your opponent to make a decision before you make a decision. Everything is happening in these milliseconds here. So there is so much precision. You've had so many of those cycles in the Go Battle League. So for trainers at home that are thinking, can I do this? You guys can. You're playing Go Battle League, you're playing battles versus your friends. Maybe add some new skill sets to your utility belt, and you can absolutely participate here at a high level.
Yeah, it's really tricky when you have such quick turnaround times. I mean, you see a switch, you have to react in, ideally less than 2 seconds in order to, get your swaps, decide whether you're going to be chipping. And I think getting into the mindset where you're able to get those fast reaction times is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, I think that you have to look at repetition because, just like you said, if you're just a second late on a switch, that can sometimes be the difference between you winning certain matchups, whether it's the 0-1 or the 2-shield type of matchup. So that precision, that presence of mind, that composure mid-battle is so important for these trainers. When you look at it, reaction time is something that, in a lot of other games maybe isn't quite as important, but it is absolutely paramount here in Pokemon Go. Like I said, if you're just 1 second late, 1 turn late on a switch, it could be the difference between a win or a loss.